Hello, my gorgeous makeup loving friends. My goodness, I'm actually on a little bit of a roll with Swatching Sundays because this is what today is all about. I started off kind of the Swatching Sundays series looking at Beauty Bay palettes, so it feels very much like we're back to the beginning again. Is this somewhat old news? Absolutely. It's the Beauty Bay Celestial Charms £20 palette, but also the Mini Charms £9 palette, and I actually got a sunny day. So I do get to swatch these and show these out in natural light. I do try to do as many different lighting conditions as possible and also kind of switch between phone footage and also camera footage, which is what you're getting right now. So if you want to see the two of these palettes swatched and see them in lots of different lighting, then this is today's video. Do please keep on watching. I'm not entirely certain if this video is entirely necessary because my gorgeous friend Daniela did provide some amazing swatches of both of these palettes, but I figured, hey, I started Swatching Sundays actually with Beauty Bay palettes on the basis of them doing the worst swatches known to man. So why not just kind of keep with it? So I obviously have the Celestial Charms palette here and the Mini Charms, which was actually briefly sold out, but it's come back right now. So I'm going to swatch both of these, show it across all of the different lighting conditions. And yeah, I currently have one ring light and two box lights on, no other sources of light. So let's just get into it. So these are the first four shades here. There's a little bit of like a shimmery reflect here. It's quite nice. So we have Orb, Prophecy, Stardust, and Andromeda. As per usual, I'm going to build all of these up. We now have our next four shades, and some of these kind of matte shades have some really interesting imprints on them in the palette. We have Omen, Zodiac, Aura, and Lyra. Now there is a little bit of fallout from some of these mattes, so keep that in mind. We have our next couple of shades, and I gotta say, I was kind of sold on this blue alone. It's so pretty. We have Stellar, Equinox, Astral, which is the blue one, and Oracle. Oh my goodness, the look of this shade in particular is just so pretty. I love how dark and moody. There's a lot of like very jewel toned colors in here. We have Galaxy. I know I have shadow all over myself. Lunar, Cosmos, and Orion. And these are the last four shades of the larger 20 pan palette. We have Comet, Solstice, Crescent, and Cassiopeia. So we're now moving on to the 9 pan palette, and there's no names written underneath, but it's on this little card here, so I will try and keep to it in that way. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is €12. It's absolutely stunning. I think this is the palette to get, if I'm 100% honest, just based on this alone. So we have Milky Way, Supernova, oh, you can tell how nice these are as toppers, and Infinity. Shut up. Beautiful. Now we have our next three shades. Again, this is not a standalone palette, but it looks really pretty. We have Aurora, Cosmos, and Eclipse. Oh, I feel they really just don't do this justice on their site. And then these are the last three shades. You can even see with this shade here, there's a really interesting sort of a shift on that, which I think I'll capture better when I don't have lights on. So we have Mystic, Pluto, and Ethereal, or as I sometimes like to pronounce it, Ethereal. So that is now both of these palettes swatched and built up. The moment of truth, I get to remove the stencil. It's probably going to be a little bit messy just because I didn't put down the stencil in the best way. Oh, actually it's not bad. I'll take it. It's not bad at all. And then obviously this is the 9 pan palette. Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like this one is really interesting. So as I said before, the way that I have this right now is one ring light, two box lights. There's no other source of light. I even have curtains closed, and I have like tried to darken the room as much as possible so I can confine the source of light here. But I think you can kind of tell to some degree just how interesting these are in particular. It kind of blows this one out of the water. I feel like they could have taken some of those shades here and maybe put it into this and made it a 12 pan of really interesting shades. You know, like it is really Very, very interesting. As always, though, the amount of light that you have is going to impact the way that you're perceiving this. So what I'm going to do now is actually turn on the main light in this room to kind of wash it out even further so you can see basically how the lighting does impact things. So I have now put on the main light here, and you can see it does wash it out, particularly when we're talking about these shades. It kind of makes them seem a little bit underwhelming when the reality is they're very, very interesting. But this is the importance of kind of toying around with lighting. And it does kind of make this seem a little bit more washed out when it comes to the mattes. Again, the mattes, just from swatching, they're not very dry. They're somewhere between buttery and dry, but you're gonna get a lot of fallout, so keep that in mind. Like, I did find it hard not to have them kind of contaminating each other in terms of the swatches, so keep that in mind if you like to do your eyes last. Probably not the best idea, keep that in mind. And this is where I gradually start to get rid of light. So I only have my ring light on. It's at a 90-degree angle, and I think you can see some of the sparkles here to a slightly better degree. You know, you can kind of make it out a little bit more. But obviously I'm going to kind of mess around a little bit further. I am also shooting this on a Canon. The type of camera that you're using will always impact the way that things look. But I think, again, you can see how this palette is kind of the showstopper. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad I got this, just simply because I'm a maximalist. I want everything forever and always. But this one, I think they could have just done that, and that would have been the thing to do. So I'm now in the dark. I have no source of light except a torchlight. And this is how I really want to show you some of these sparkles. I feel like you can make them out pretty well in these particular instances. Just how pretty they actually are, or at least that's the hope. You can see some of the sparkles a little bit better depending on the angles. I'm going to try and make sure that I'm getting both of them in here rather than focusing on just one of the palettes. But do you see how the sparkles are definitely impacted here by the level of the light that you're giving? At least I'm hoping. And again, that's all being impacted even by the type of camera that I'm using, because again, I'm using my Canon. You can see me coming in there with my hand because I'm using my phone in terms of the torch. But you know what? I've never done it before, but I think I'm going to try and use the camera and flash on my phone to gather this as well, just so we can see this in more kind of detail, because I think it's worth considering just the extent to which that can impact things. Just really want to see this across as many dimensions as possible, you know? Because I mean, I know that they're very affordable, but let us make informed decisions. I do feel though, those shimmers at the top, yeah, do we kind of maybe agree? They might be worth kind of getting. Do you know what I mean? Like, they are very pretty. So I'm shooting this on my iPhone now. I have no source of light other than the flash on my phone, and I do feel like this gives you slightly better indication of what these look like. So I'm going to focus first on the Celestial Charms. That blue, I mean, see those three blues there? You can't, like, that should have gone into the 9 pan. They could have gotten rid of the 20 pan, I'm just saying. It's so pretty. And then look at these. Beautiful toppers. Look at how stunning they are. And that one at the top doesn't give any sort of a cast on me. That I could use that as a highlighter. It's absolutely, it's so beautiful. Also, can I just point out the importance of using different cameras? Like, you really get a better, more holistic idea of what these actually look like. But let me know down below, which do you think is more kind of impressive? Is it the 9 pan or is it the 20 pan? What did you think of this entire launch collection, etc.? I know that technically in makeup terms it's been out for a while now, but I am very nosy and I like to know what you guys think. And I'm now messing around with the light a little bit more. I have my camera phone again, and I've just opened the curtain, so we're getting a little bit of natural light into the room. Do you see again? Look at those 9 pan palettes. just how different it actually looks in this particular context. Like, it does look almost like a totally different palette there. Come on now, Beauty Bay. You have a better budget than me. I know you do. Swatch your stuff better. I don't understand. You know the drill, lads. I absolutely love showing you guys these across lots of different lighting conditions. And right now I'm standing at a window where we actually, believe it or not, have some sunshine. It's not amazing sunshine, but it's a level of sunshine that I'm like, oh my God, this is exciting for us. Particularly considering it's October. So like, we'll take it. You can see it does kind of wash out those more special shades ever so slightly. Again, I just love showing these across lots of different lighting. Why don't they do this? They have the budget. And obviously I can only show you this on my skin tone. So, I mean, you know, take what I'm saying here with a pinch of salt, because I mean, it's obviously going to look different on different skin tones. They're going to pull slightly differently. I'm very, very fair with quite a pink, kind of cool undertone. So keep that in mind. It does impact how these things pull. That's right, guys. Just for you, I have ventured out into the great outdoors with my camera. Oh, look at the sparkles. Oh, that is nice. Tell me it's not. You can't. You'd be lying. Again, I feel like the £20 palette is fine, but it's a bit like, okay, you underwhelm me when I see you next to this. Like, come on now. Particularly with the natural light, it does really show off these sparkles to quite an interesting extent. Let's look at some of these as well. Let's really zoom on in, get really weird and uncomfortably close. Yeah, it's going to unfocus. Whatever. I have a shoestring budget. But I do think this gives you a really nice indication, particularly with that £9 palette. Lads, put that into your basket. I have a link down below if you are interested. Anything that has an asterisk is affiliated because I am disgusting. I'm going to show this now on my phone camera as well, because again, getting lots of different perspectives, very, very helpful. So here we go, it's on the camera. Again, I feel like maybe sometimes my camera captures things, like my phone camera captures things a little bit better than the Canon. I do need to get a new camera at some point. But, let's try and make sure I'm not in my own shadow. Like those 3 shades. Love that. Love those. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And the rest I'm a little bit underwhelmed by. And then I get down to here and I'm like, oh, okay. All is forgiven. Like, they can do really interesting things when they feel like doing it. Or am I wrong? I think they're beautiful. Really nice sparkles. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing the two of them together. That's quite interesting. Or is it just me? Sparkle, sparkle. Think of that episode from Simpsons where Bart gets his ear pierced. Or am I showing my age there? Who knows? Again, those 3 shades. Beautiful. Not sure if it's worth getting the palette overall for that, but I am an idiot, and that's the sort of a way that I think, like, look at that. That's beautiful. Let's have the camera unfocus and do that. Ooh, yeah, they're nice. I'm going to say it, I'm just so happy that I managed to get a sunny day. It wasn't forecast as being sunny, so I was like, oh, we'll see. And then the sun came out and was like, today, Teresa, you may do some swatches. I was going to do them anyways because, you know, it waits for no human, etc. But anyways, we swatched these and I would love to know what you guys think. I feel like this one, there's definitely some beautiful shades in there. There's 3 in particular, you know, the ones that I'm talking about. They're the ones that I kept talking about. I think they're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But they could have maybe been put in with this, made a little £12 palette. This one is the one I think that is worth getting. Now, do I think this is necessarily a dupe of the Opulence palette? No, it's more like its sister. So I feel like if you have the Opulence, you can kind of get away with getting this. But also, if you didn't get the Opulence and you felt a bit sad about it, this would probably be the one to get. Does this necessarily blow me away in terms of the colour story. Not really, but I have to say it swatches really, really beautifully. The mattes are a little bit fallouty. They're a slightly drier formula, not super, super dry. So it does indicate to me that like it's going to be relatively easy to work with. Again, just watch out for that fallout. This, I love that there's very much a transparent base on a couple of these, as you could see through the swatches. I was very, very impressed by that, but it does look like you could potentially build them up. Now, I didn't want to build those up because, I mean, they kind of did that on their swatches and it didn't look fantastic. I wanted to see how transparent this was, just because I feel like a transparent sort of a base is much more interesting in terms of a palette. If you had to make me choose between the two, can you guess which one I'm going to be interested in more? Yeah, the mini charms. I know that my gorgeous friend Daniela swatched them and I had them in a previous video of her swatches. So, I mean, I'm not saying I outdid her, I definitely didn't, she's amazing. But I'm hoping that this kind of added a little bit of further context, a little bit more information as to what these actually look like. Did you pick these up? Are you interested in them? I do have an affiliate link down below if you are interested. I know, isn't that disgusting? It's all right though, I'm going straight to hell. I've already been told about this. So, do I think they're necessarily worth your money? I suppose it kind of depends. Do you know? I haven't actually used them on my eyes yet, so like I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. But this one, I think, this was all they needed to come out with. I feel like this one was a smidgen unnecessary, but this one, I need them to do more of these because this was extremely impressive. But my gorgeous friends, that is it. That is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell and do please share, because sharing is caring. Except of course for STDs. So just wrap it up. Don't be gross, but that's it. That's the end of this video and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.